I'm gonna take it back to kindergarten, man. Like, the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. That permeates pretty much anything that you do. If you think about it, as simple as that is, whether it's in business, whether it's in life, whether it's in your relationships. One thing that I always try to do is to be as empathetic as I possibly can, put myself in other people's shoes. I'm not perfect at it. I'm also a work in progress, but whenever I make a decision to do something, if it's going to impact somebody else, I try my best to make sure that I'm not doing something that would intentionally harm someone or even inadvertently, right? Because, intent isn't as important as effect. I can have the best intentions in the world, but if I'm spewing nonsense and hurting somebody, it's gonna have the impact it's gonna have. So the first would definitely be the golden rule, is just treat others the way you want to be treated. And my moral code is just being true to me. I am the way that I am. I don't change it to appease other people or to conform to some type of societal norm of what, for me, an attorney is supposed to look like, an attorney is supposed to act like. And so I make this attorney thing my own. I make it look good, but it's true to me, so. My name is Derek Hawkins. I am a trademark attorney for Harley-Davidson Motor Company. I do what I do because I love building brands. I love bridging the gap between creating a brand itself and figuring out creative ways to protect the brand itself and make it grow. So that's why I do what I do. I got into trademark law. Actually, it's kind of like a sub path to do entertainment law. When I started law school, I actually wanted to be an entertainment lawyer or some type of an agent. I really wanted to work with music. And when I learned more and more about the field, I realized that there's one area of law that seemed to touch on every area of law, pretty much, and every area of entertainment specifically, and that's intellectual property. Within intellectual property, you have trademarks, you got copyright, you got patents, but trademarks are what resonated with me the most because I'm somewhat of a marketing guy. I like brands, I like building brands and things of that nature. So I gravitated towards that area of law, definitely more than the others. Who and what influences me the most? For me, it's a loaded question because there are a lot of things that influence me, right? You have my family influences me, my peers influence me, my colleagues. But more or less, I think it's more of an idea, if that makes sense, that influences me. And that's more so making sure that whatever it is that I do professionally, personally, that I leave some type of a legacy, I leave some type of a mark on this world, if you will, in some way, shape, or form. So in anything that I do, that's the kind of the thing that pushes me forward, is making sure that if I'm going to involve myself in something that is greater than myself, and I leave some type of impact. Biggest challenge that I've faced is juggling time, if that makes sense. I'm an entrepreneur through and through. I started my own practice before I worked at Harley-Davidson, and I found it really challenging at sometimes to make sure that when I'm devoting all my time to work, that I still make time for my family, that I still make time for my friends, that I still make time for myself. And so as I grew and as I continued to scale, it became more and more difficult to kind of figure those things out. But once you do, it makes life a lot easier because then you can prioritize and put things in the proper place, but make sure that you allocate enough time to handle your personal life, handle your professional life, take care of yourself, because self-care is very important also. My biggest goal in life is when I leave this world, to leave it better than it was when I was in it. And that's speaking as a father, to be honest. So my kids are 11, 2, and 5. It's a weird 11, 5, and 2. And when you read about crazy things happening in the planet all over the world, the first thing that I think about as a parent is my kids. And anything that I'm doing, I want to make the world a better place, a place where they can thrive, a place where they can enjoy. So ultimately, that's the goal, is to leave the world better than it was when I was here. If that's like the ultimate, Advice that I would give to somebody that wants to follow their passion is to not worry so much about what others think, and not worry so much about what other people have to say about your journey, because it's your journey at the end of the day and not theirs. And in many respects, when, if you have a decision that, you want to go and you want to be an artist, or you want to be a screenwriter, you want to be a photographer, generally when you express a passion that kind of deviates from the normal professions that most people's parents want them to do, like doctor, lawyer, dentist, things of that nature, it's usually met with resistance, but in many cases, it's generally some type of insecurity that that person has that they're projecting onto you, right? So because they feel that they can't do it, they're going to say the same thing to you. So their perspective isn't rooted in experience, is rooted in, well, I couldn't do it, so how the heck can you, be successful at it? So I'd say, yeah, so focus more so on your internal voice, worry about doing what you need to do to follow that passion, and then surround yourself with like-minded people. And in many cases, it won't be your immediate circle. It's crazy sometimes, but sometimes your friends and your family won't be your biggest supporters. Sometimes they'll be strangers you've never met. So just position yourself in a place where you are around like-minded energy, because you can definitely feed off of that and go further. I don't think that at least intentionally, I don't dress a certain way as a reaction to what people would think, in a sense, right? So, I mean, undoubtedly people are gonna view me the way they view me. You can't control that, but at the same time, I like to be true to me. I dress the way that I dress is a reflection of me and my personality, right? So on one day I might have on a suit, on one day I might come in with sweatpants. It really depends on the nature and temperature. So for me, fashion is just a way to express yourself. It's a way to, if you do care about letting the world know kind of what you're about, presentation is the first impression you give to somebody. And generally, when you dress well, that's a reflection of your respect for that person and the scenario that you're meeting with them for. Give you an example, if you go to a client meeting and you're dressed in, dirty sweatpants with mustard stains on it in an AT, they're gonna think a certain thing about you versus you showing up in a nice polished suit. That might not always be the spectrum, but at the end of the day, fashion for me is just a representation of how I feel about myself. It's the way that it's my personal canvas for my expression, if you will. So yeah, 3 people that I would want to meet with and have dinner, living or dead, would be, I definitely want to have a conversation and meet with Tupac Shakur. Really because apart from, the acclaim of hip hop, is more, I think he's a really misunderstood and complex dude, right? In that, on the one hand, he was really into gangster rap and had the influence of hip hop, but he was also he was an artistic man. He was a well-trained artistic man and had a lot of impact and a lot of perspective in the political sense too. So I would love to just have a candid conversation about what he thinks about certain things, So that'd be one. Ray Dalio will be another. He's the founder of Bridgewater Associates, I believe is the company. Really powerful financial company, but he has a very rebel spirit and rebel type of mindset, and that he kind of trailblazed his own path to building a financial powerhouse with his company. And then Tony Robbins. I don't know if everybody knows who Tony Robbins is, but yeah, so Tupac, Ray Dalio, and Tony Robbins. It's a wide spectrum, but yeah.